There we go. Welcome, everybody, to the 36th Connecticut Out Film Festival. I think I'd like to just start by going around the Zoom column here and tell us who you are.
My name is Wiltshire. I'm from Guyana, and I am a filmmaker. I've been trying to make films for a while, and I've recently started trying to do community films and so on. So the last one that I made, which is Eating PAPAW on the Seashore, it did really well. It actually premiered at the BFI Flair, that's in London, and it also premiered at the Locarno Film Festival that's in Switzerland. And it's been around the US, and it's nice to be at the 36th annual Connecticut Film Festival.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Katniss. I am originally from Hong Kong. I graduated from my film school as a screenwriter in 2018 and briefly worked in the industry over there. And 2 years ago, I left Hong Kong and came to Europe for my MA called Kinoi's the European Film Masters. So it's a very unique program that offered me the opportunity to study and make films and travel around 4 different European countries with another 23 people from around the world. So during this time, I'm a producer in the program, and I work with different people in the class. And in the first semester, I work with a very international team, including my director Salvador here, and we did a short film called FADO MENOR, which is included and selected by this festival.
Well, welcome, Salvador.
Hi. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having us here today and for having our film in the festival. We're very excited. So yeah, I'm Salvador. I'm from Mexico, but I'm currently based in Dublin. And yeah, I was doing the same program as Katniss. I'm a director, and most of the stuff I've done is LGBT films. I feel very passionate about those stories. So yeah, I mean, we'll talk about our film in a little bit, but I'm very happy I get to share this film with everyone in the festival.
Fado Menor ends with a dedication. I guess it's probably the word for the lovers in the shadows, and that's something that both films here have in common. We have a pair of lovers who are living in the shadows, and one of the things that those of us with this film festival is in Connecticut. One of the things some of our viewers might not know is what is the political situation for LGBTQ folks in Lisbon, in Guyana. What's it like?
Well, I can go first because I've only been in Lisbon for around 6 months or so. I don't know if I'm the best person to to talk about it, but I did meet a lot of LGBT people while I was there, and I think it's interesting, and it's something that I could see a lot of parallels with what happens in Mexico, because now, of course, there's equal marriage and there's all of this legislation in place against any homophobia or transphobia or any violence of that kind. But maybe because we share the thing of being Catholic countries, there's still some things in the culture that, yeah, it may seem very open, but then maybe you find that openness in the big cities, but then not as much in other places. And there's always double standards with a lot of things. So I think something we wanted to do with the film was also showing this sort of reality, which is that is sometimes it's not even the place, because our main characters come from Angola. And I think one of them has these expectations that now, because they're in a place where they can be out more openly, more freely, things are going to be different. But it's also about the sort of stigma we can carry within ourselves, and how it's hard to sort of overcome that shame that society teaches.
Right. Ray, that shame that society teaches is very much a force on your characters as well. What's going on in Guyana? What's it like for your characters there?
Well, I mean, you still have a lot of prejudice and discrimination in Guyana, and it's still actually illegal to be gay in Guyana, but it's not enforced. I mean, how can you enforce such a rule? No one has actually ever been locked up for being gay or anything like that.
Hmm.
Attitude, like, it has been getting better, especially like with the younger generation. So like Gen Zs and millennials really doesn't affect them that much. Like they don't care. It's mostly like the older people in the society who really makes it a bother. But I am like optimistic because we have seen progress. I think we had our first like Pride Parade in 2018, and I think most of the politicians don't really care who is gay and who is not gay, but it's just to keep the constituency happy. So they move very slowly because there's some gay parliamentarians, so, so in positions of power. So but we actually had a minute sighting that got married.
Both of your films, the color palettes are really striking. The Salvador and Katniss, the blue in the is it a bar that the couple are in,
Yeah.
and Ray, in yours it it seems to go
Sorry,
from oh
sorry.
it goes from green to yellow to orange. Their
Yeah.
outfits. So tell me about the color.
Okay, well, the color palette, well, the film is called Eating Papa on the Seashore. And so the color palette is very much following what's the word, the maturity of that fruit. So, yeah.
So
So it
so
started
the
off,
orange towards the end is the mature fruit. Which now that
right.
you
And
say that, we do get that shot of it on the ground.
yeah. So it's orange. So me and the production designer, we just like went and studied that fruit to see the various phases of it. So if you notice, like one boy's kitchen is orange because he's the one that's more for a relationship. One boy's kitchen is green. The mother's very supportive of the relationship, so she's always in yellow, and the son is very critical to developing of that fruit.
Mm.
So, and even if you notice, like when the boy regressed, when you cut a green papa, inside is white. So he was wearing a white t-shirt sometimes. So it was really inspired by that fruit. And even the dad's color palette, like he was the odd one out in the film because he was just wearing pastel that has nothing to do with the papa. So he just was the odd one out of the entire thing. And actually, so I really like colors in film because I really love what's this film called? In the Mood for Love. I really like um
Mm.
how he
It's
does
from Hong
colors
Kong.
and then
There we
yeah,
go.
I know. So I love Wong Kar-wai, and
Yeah.
yeah. So that's
The
that's the whole color scheme of the film, essentially, based on
the
that fruit.
mother's character is glorious, and that yellow, you can just feel it as she's go telling go talk to him, go, and that love
Yeah.
comes through the colors brightly. Tell me about the blue in the, is it a bar, is it a club, how should I refer to it?
It's a bar.
Okay.
It's a fado bar. So I think right before I start working on any film, I try to think of a color. And usually I don't take it as literal, but with for that film, we were thinking a lot about teal. And I think the obvious choice for the bar scene was going for red, but also I felt like I had seen the red thing a lot of times. But we did wanted to have this sort of special atmosphere because in these fado bars in Lisbon, they have this sort of weird dynamic where or at least the one I went to where I got the inspiration for the story. So they open the gates and they let people in for like 15 minutes, then they close the gates, they turn down the lights, and this color light fills the place while they're playing like I don't know 3 or 4 songs, and then they go all over again, lights come on again, then more, some people exit, some new people come in, and they go like that the whole night. So we wanted to create that particular atmosphere for that. And also with the exteriors, Lisbon's street lamps are such a warm color. It's very yellowish. So we wanted also to sort of have that night night, yeah, romanticized version of Lisbon at night.
Yeah, it worked because you're cutting back and forth between the interior and the exteriors, and so you get the characters bathed in both lights. As someone who has zero Spanish, tell me about the song. I'm assuming that there was a lot of significance in that beautiful song that woman sings, and I was just missing it.
Um, it's a funny story, and I think Katniss can also tell us a little bit about it because so fado music is this sort of micro genre of music from Portugal that was like music for sailors. A lot of Portuguese people were traveling around the world back in the day in ships, so they all have this very melancholic sort of quality to them, and the song, the music itself, and the one that gives name to the film is Fado Menor, is just the music, the musical composition. Uh, but there's this thing with Fado that pretty much you just have to look for a poem that has this certain amount of syllables, and you can adapt anything to it. Uh, and because we could, we were sort of concerned if we were gonna get the rights to any version of the lyrics to that famous music, then Katniss did some research, and maybe you can say a little bit, Katniss, how we found the lyrics.
Yes, I'm actually trying to find a translation of the lyrics. I think I need some time. Uh, it's actually in Portuguese. It's not in Spanish. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is, yeah, like Salvador said, while we were doing preparation, we talked to some of the musicians. And because obviously copyright, it's one thing to think about when we work on pre-production. And it's very lucky that because fado music has such a long history, so some of the songs already belong to the public domain. So it's like free of like copyright. So then among those three melody, I think we agree that one of that we think it works the most, which is the current one that you hear. And for lyrics, it's because all fado lyrics, they're actually poems. So they don't compose lyrics on their own. So they use it from poems. But I think different melody have different kind of like structure. So for ours, I think it's like you just choose certain, I think it's like 4 part, and then each part 4 sentence, something like that, and then it would fit in automatically. And that actually it also kind of, we were lucky because we had the collaboration with 2 fado musicians and 1 singer. So we actually pre-recorded the song especially for the film. So the music that you hear, it's not like just an online free music. It's actually played by the 2 musicians and sent by the singer that you saw in the film. So it's like kind of like a special song for
Authentically
the film.
yours.
Yeah, exactly.
Ray,
Yeah.
a similar thing. Oh, I'm sorry, Salvador. Go ahead.
Yeah, and just quickly, not to let it pass. The lyrics in general, it's a song about longing. So it's written in this very poetic way. So it's this woman singing about how she wants this sailboat to sail through the silver waters at night and take like that her crying and her sadness away. So it's a little bit about that.
Ray, a similar thing in your film where I knew there was more going on than I was getting. Tell me about the 2 guys on the beach who are making this offering.
That's how the film started, actually. So that's the beginning of how I got the idea for the film. Because Ghana is mainly comprised of blacks and Indians, and so we have a lot of Hindus in Guyana, and so they usually go to the beach to perform the ritual, which is giving fruits and so to the gods and so on. And so I noticed like there were some homeless people on the beach that day on our seashore, and they were saying it was market day, and there's no market around, so I was confused as to what is market day. And as soon as the Hindus left, they went and take all the fruits. That was market day for them. So I find it funny, but then I kind of say like, how do these people, how did they end up here? And I just give I started writing the backstory for a homeless person, and probably say maybe he was gay, and maybe the reason he going after this particular fruit is that it has a special significance to him when he was younger, and so that was a huge part of it. And certain things, we have happy accidents on
Mm.
set. And so one of the happy accidents on set is that if you notice, um, one of the leaves was on fire,
I,
and another one, when you go back and you check it, like one leaf is on fire and another one wasn't on fire. And I just thought, maybe this could symbolize someone is burning brighter than the other with these two other bites. And so I kind of like, that's how that symbolism came in just after the fact. I'm like, so that was interesting. And it also helped that my production designer, his mom is Hindu. So he was very like, you're gonna get this thing as authentic as you can possibly get it. So he has that experience as well. And I really wanted to portray Guyanese culture. I've never seen that on film, and I'm like, the thing about when you come from this part of the world, like, you don't see films from Guyana. And I wanted to capture my culture as best as I can.
let me this is a terrible place to leave it, but let me ask as the last question, go back to where we started, which was shame. Uh, your characters are wrestling with this, and the notion of being out versus being closeted, living this relationship fully and really appreciating the love you have, and just being too scared to do that. Um, is there hope for your characters?
I want to believe yes, but I think they're at different stages of their journeys, because I
Mhm.
think in our story we have Gabriel, which is like the one who's feeling the most sad about them not being able to be out or to show love to each other, or yeah, like live their love out in the open. I think he's ready for that and that kind of love, and that's why he's sort of moving forward in his life by the end of the film. And I want to believe that Joan, our other character, maybe he's not there yet, but yeah, I want to believe he'll have his own journey, and he'll find that freedom as well.
I think yes for me too. I think I left the film very, very bittersweet. I mean, no one died. So
Thank you.
so it was bittersweet in that regards. And something interesting happened when we were cast in that film. All the actors that came in, because I mean, as the first time two boys have actually kissed on screen in Guyana on film, and so a lot of people didn't want to do the role at all. And every
Hmm.
time people came in, they were like, "What is this? Like, are you writing my story?" And that wasn't the intention at all. But a lot of the people that came to audition, like it resonated with them, but they were too shamed to even do the role. So I had to end up doing the role. If you notice, some of the clothes couldn't fit me properly if you look back, but because the actor that we cast was skinny and then he dropped out. So I think within 2 days before we ready to film, I'm like, okay, I'll do it, and that's how I had to make that film because people were too
Wow.
ashamed to make that film. Yeah.
Uh, and you wore that green tank top well. But any words you want to leave them with?
Thanks for looking at it, and I hope you had a amazing time seeing some Guyanese cinema, because I'm pretty sure that you probably never saw a film from this part of the region. Most of them.
Yeah, and
So
likewise, I just want to thank everyone for watching our film, and also for supporting the festival and in general LGBT creators and content. I think that doing that is super valuable. So thank you, everyone.
Katniss, last word to you.
For me, I think if I hope you like the film. If you don't like, it's also fine because you already watched it. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I hope if you feel like you're very alone out there, I hope this film could give you some comfort to let you know that it's not just you. Like a lot of people are also struggling, and it's fine to be struggle.